Between Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks, there is a convoluted relationship that encompasses everything from their chart-topping singles to the drama that occurs behind the scenes. In addition to being former lovers, bandmates, and artistic partners, their relationship has been the driving force behind both their most celebrated works and their most publicized disagreements. Lindsey Buckingham, who is now in his 70s, recently discussed Stevie Nicks and Fleetwood Mac in an honest and open manner. To what extent did Buckingham's opinions about his former lover change as a result of time and perspective? Or do the wounds that were caused by their troubled past continue to linger? Well, let's find out. Beginning in 1975, when Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks became members of Fleetwood Mac, the band's meteoric journey to superstardom was officially launched. Both Buckingham and Nicks had been in a relationship and creative partners prior to their time spent in Fleetwood Mac. They had performed together under the name Buckingham Nicks. However, despite the fact that it did not achieve commercial success, their self-titled album, which was released in 1973, demonstrated the unmistakable chemistry that they shared. The combination of Lindsey's sophisticated and forward-thinking guitar work and Stevie's eerie yet beautiful voice was a powerful combination. One condition that Lindsey imposed was the deciding factor in whether or not they would be allowed to join Fleetwood Mac. This information was corroborated by Mick Fleetwood, the drummer for the band, in an interview with Rolling Stone in the year 2013. It was not Lindsey who entered the room without Stevie. That was a significant component of the agreement. Fleetwood Mac went from being a blues-oriented band to becoming a polished pop-rock combo after Buckingham and Nicks were brought on board, laying the groundwork for their spectacular journey to prominence. It was an instant hit when they launched their debut album together, which was titled Fleetwood Mac, and was released in 1975. Popular songs such as Rhiannon, which was written by Stevie, and Monday Morning, which was written by Lindsey, were included on the album. In addition to laying the groundwork for the band's unique sound, the album was the catalyst that propelled the band to mainstream success. Nevertheless, Lindsey and Stevie's professional and personal relationship began to show signs of early fissures even before they had their breakthrough. The relationship between Lindsey and Stevie had ended by the time Fleetwood Mac began working on their follow-up album, Rumors, which caused the band to experience a significant amount of emotional pressure. Despite this, their split turned out to be an unexpected source of motivation for their creative endeavors. Rumors contains a number of tracks that were directly influenced by the artists' strained relationship with one another. It was a very bitter breakup, but we had to be together, Stevie Nicks revealed in an interview with BBC Radio in 2014. The interview took place in 2014. We couldn't just leave the band without doing anything. As a result, we decided to throw everything into the music. Go Your Own Way, the band's legendary hit, served as a vehicle through which Lindsey Buckingham expressed his dissatisfaction and sadness over the years. His thoughts towards Stevie were expressed in a raw and aggressive manner through the song. Nicks, on the other hand, answered with her ballad titled Dreams, which was a reflective and melancholy piece of music. Considering the possibility of moving on while preserving the respect for the connection they had in the past, Lindsey commented on the turbulent process of creating Rumors in an interview with The Times in 2021. She stated, "We had to channel all that hurt into the work. The album was made to be so amazing because of this. But in every other respect, it was a draining experience. Their creative connection was explosive and irrepressible, despite the fact that they were going through personal agony." After some time had passed, Mick Fleetwood gave an interview to Rolling Stone magazine in 2013, during which he discussed their chemistry. The chemistry that Lindsey and Stevie shared was not only complicated, but it was also captivating. The fact that they competed against one another was what made the music something truly remarkable. Lindsey and Stevie were both greatly affected by the emotional toll that their relationship took on them, despite the fact that Fleetwood Mac achieved unprecedented levels of popularity with their album Rumors. Despite the fact that they continued to produce classic songs through their cooperation, it became increasingly marked by tension, disagreements, and emotions that were not resolved. As the popularity of Fleetwood Mac continued to rise, the tensions that existed between Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks also started to increase. Despite the fact that they were able to keep their work relationship going for years after their breakup, personal grievances and creative conflicts continued to boil beneath the surface, resulting in an atmosphere that was fraught with the possibility of confrontation. Over the course of the late 1970s, Fleetwood Mac had become a worldwide phenomenon as a result of the success of albums such as Rumors and Tusk. On the other hand, behind the scenes, differences of opinion between Buckingham and Nicks, in addition to difficulties between other members of the band, had become normal. The fact that they had such divergent perspectives on music made their personal difficulties even worse. Stevie gravitated toward a more free-spirited and emotive style, in contrast to Lindsey, who was known for his perfectionism and fixation with detail. During an interview with BBC Radio, Mick Fleetwood discussed the creative friction that existed between them. He stated that a significant portion of Fleetwood Mac's later work represented the constant conflict that existed inside their partnership. Buckingham's taste for experimental sounds and Nick's preference for traditional, melodically driven songwriting came into conflict during the production of Tusk in 1979. Buckingham wanted to achieve a more experimental sound. In 2021, Buckingham was quoted in the Rolling Stone magazine as saying, "While creative differences fueled their musical brilliance, their personal resentment often spilled into public view." Buckingham was referring to the event that occurred during that time period, a physical confrontation that took place during a band gathering in the late 1980s, is considered to be one of the most infamous episodes. Stevie subsequently recounted the event in an interview with Vanity Fair in 1971, shortly after Lindsey announced that he was leaving Fleetwood Mac. He stated that Lindsey's exit from Fleetwood Mac in 1987 signified the conclusion of years of hostility between the band members. Despite the fact that the official story at the time stressed his desire to pursue solo projects, both he and Stevie have since stated that the deteriorating relationship between them had a significant influence in his decision to leave the band. Lindsey stated in an open and honest interview with The Times that Buckingham reunited with Fleetwood Mac on multiple occasions over the course of several decades, frequently reigniting both the creative spark and tensions with Stevie Nicks. This was despite the fact that Buckingham had left the band. Despite the fact that the band's global tour in 2013 featured moments of nostalgia and togetherness, underlying frictions continued to exist throughout the trip. Later, in 2014, Stevie gave another interview to Rolling Stone, in which he pondered on their connection and described it as a beautiful thing. She acknowledged that the drama reached a new high point in 2018, when Buckingham was terminated from his position with Fleetwood Mac at the same time as the band announced their next tour. Lindsey is of the opinion that Stevie was a significant contributor to the development, despite the fact that the band indicated that it was a collaborative decision. These public and private struggles have left a legacy of emotional wounds, but they have also molded Fleetwood Mac's captivating narrative, he said in an interview with Rolling Stone in 2018. The interview took place in 2018. The cooperation that they have maintained for decades is still considered to be one of the most fascinating and turbulent partnerships in the history of music. As Lindsey Buckingham approaches his tangled relationship with Stevie Nicks at the age of 75, he has adopted a thoughtful approach to the situation. Buckingham has revealed fresh insights about their relationship, showcasing both the creative brilliance and emotional toll that it causes. These revelations come after decades of public and private conflicts with one another. Buckingham discussed the profound connection that he and Nicks had in the past during an interview that was conducted not too long ago with The Times. Despite the fact that he acknowledged that their personal issues frequently contaminated their workplace dynamic, he viewed their partnership as one that was mutually transforming. Despite the fact that we loved each other, we were not always able to successfully handle the pressures of fame while also loving each other. It seems that Buckingham has become more empathetic over the years, and he now appreciates the amazing music that was created as a result of their disagreements. Through an interview with Rolling Stone, he stated that Buckingham has not been shy about addressing the sorrow that has been caused by their ongoing fights, despite the fact that this recognition has been made. As he reflected on his dismissal from Fleetwood Mac in 2018, he expressed his dissatisfaction by noting, "Despite this, Buckingham has made efforts to come to terms with the past." He claimed in his interview with The Times that time and distance had helped to alleviate some of the resentment that he once carried, despite the fact that issues that have not been resolved still exist. When it comes to Nicks, Buckingham's observations reveal a mixture of admiration and lingering confusion. In his description of her, he said that she was both an indispensable component of his artistic journey and a source of intense emotional pain, and released music under their own name. It cannot be denied that his recollections of Fleetwood Mac and Stevie Nicks continue to have a significant amount of influence. At the end of his interview with Rolling Stone, he admitted that Buckingham's candid comments illustrate how time has enabled him to comprehend the intricacy of his relationship with Stevie Nicks, while also realizing the problems that it has presented. One of the most intriguing and enduring dynamics in the history of rock music is the partnership that Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks have shared from the beginning. In addition to having a significant impact on Fleetwood Mac's legacy, their relationship, which was both romantic and professional, was also essential in shaping the larger narrative of how personal pain can feed creative brilliance. In spite of the fact that their most famous work was completed several decades ago, the lasting repercussions of their link are still being felt today. There have been numerous occasions where Buckingham has admitted that their alliance was a double-edged sword. He made this observation in an interview with The Guardian. Those scars continue to inform Fleetwood Mac's identity as fans continue to be captivated by the raw passion that defined their songwriting. One of the reasons the band was so popular was because of the way in which their personal lives were reflected in their songs. Buckingham's Go Your Own Way and Nicks' Silver Springs are two examples of songs that chronicled the pain that they went through and provided listeners with an intimate glimpse into the complexities of their relationship. This interaction was discussed by Mick Fleetwood in Rolling Stone, where he stated, however, the persistent tensions between Buckingham and Nicks also carried a cost. This was a reflection on the dynamic. Due to the fact that neither of them was able to fully reconcile their differences, their professional relationship got progressively strained over the course of the years. In an interview that she gave to the Los Angeles Times in the year 2020, Stevie Nicks described Buckingham's influence on her as being both motivating and demanding. She stated that despite these problems, the musical magic that they created together has outlasted their personal disagreements. The fact that the back catalog of Fleetwood Mac continues to inspire new generations of fans is evidence that the power of their music is significantly larger than the sum of their conflicts. In 2022, Buckingham gave an interview to Variety magazine in which he reflected on this legacy. In the interview, Buckingham stated that although Buckingham and Nicks may never be able to totally mend their personal relationship, their influence on music is still indisputable. Their contentious partnership resulted in the production of a body of work that has stood the test of time for almost half a century. This body of work is based on a foundation of emotional vulnerability and creative strain. In addition to the music itself, the friendship that Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks share is an important aspect of the legacy that Fleetwood Mac has left behind. The difficult relationship between them, which included feelings of love, heartbreak, admiration, and bitterness, had a significant impact not just on their careers, but also on the cultural significance of the band. Even now, decades after their breakup and cooperation, the stories that are linked between them continue to attract admirers all around the world. This tension was the foundation upon which Fleetwood Mac's success was built, but it also came at a price. According to Buckingham's reflections, the band was a magnificent but volatile experiment in the human condition. Buckingham made this statement in an interview. This experiment resulted in the creation of some of the most notable and emotionally charged songs in the history of rock music, but it also left behind wounds that have not yet been completely healed by the passage of time. During an interview with Wasparent, the Los Angeles Times, Stevie Nicks revealed how their friendship continues to be a significant and enduring chapter in her life ever after. Even during our disagreements, Lindsey and I remained linked to one another. What we accomplished together is something that no one else could have accomplished. They had a one-of-a-kind relationship, both as artists and as persons, and it resulted in the production of a collection of work that has resonance that extends well beyond their individual struggles. It is possible that Fleetwood Mac will never be able to fully regroup in its original shape as a band, but the legacy that Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks have created will never be diminished. Their work continues to inspire fans as well as other performers, and it serves as a testament to the heights that creativity can reach, even when it is born in turmoil. What is important is not what went wrong. Rather, it is the moments of genius that we were able to create together, as Buckingham himself stated in an article that was published in Rolling Stone. By achieving such moments, Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks secured their position in rock history, establishing a connection that would last forever through the magic they created and the mayhem that accompanied it.